stop movement, okay? So what I will do, I understand I want to keep Pedro on the side of the choke. So first thing, I'm gonna bring my elbow just a little bit over his shoulder, and I'm gonna close my elbow down to put some weight, okay? And now I'm gonna start bringing him all the way to the other side, and I'm gonna keep my head closed. I know Pedro wants to bridge. When I already have control, one very simple movement of my legs to improve my control is to, instead of keeping my hook inside between his legs, I'm gonna just step, closing my elbow on top of his hip. So here, I'm not spending a lot of energy, I'm just putting some weight, and I make much harder for him to bridge to the other side. When he tries to bridge, I don't need to keep putting energy, just pressure down and keep your knee closed. If your knee is open, your hook is gonna be weak. Okay, any movement, the hook's gonna slip. But if your knee is closed and you're pushing down, it's gonna make very hard for him to bridge. So I understand what he wants to do, and I just find ways to avoid it before he starts the movement, okay? So I'm gonna keep the seat belt, and I'm gonna block him here. Then we spoke about when I do the seat belt, one of my hands are the choking hand, okay? That is why is important I cover my choking hand? Because I want my hand to be free to go to his neck to make a grip every time I can. If I have the opposite, Pedro can just hold my choking hand. Now I have zero chance of any submission here with my chokes. If I have the opposite way, it's gonna be very hard. He grabs my choking hand, and it's gonna have to either control my forearm, or he's gonna try to peel the top hand first, and then my other hand can still slip to his neck or to his collar. So I want to defend my choking hand so I can make grips on the collar, I can attack the neck if I have any opportunity during the transitions. My hand is defending, and I can attack as I like. Makes much harder for him to escape, okay? So he always has the threat of the submission. He needs to always be worried about my chokes. If I do the seat belt the opposite way, he can control my hand, and now he knows the chokes is impossible to do. It's gonna give him more confidence to start moving, to start trying to escape, okay? So I'm gonna do the correct seat belt. I'm gonna use my elbow a little bit over his shoulder and put weight down to make it easier to bring him to the side that I want. And I'm gonna step on his hip, closing my knee to make it harder to bridge. So we're gonna start working on the bow and arrow choke. Before I release my seat belt, I want to move my hand down and just put my thumb inside the collar. So as I'm protecting my hand, it's gonna be very hard for him to avoid this movement, okay? And we still with the seat belt, I'm gonna try to climb my grip as much as I can closer to his neck. He's gonna be defended, he's not gonna be deep enough, but I try to make my hand go as high as I can before I start adjusting, okay? When I'm gonna release the seat belt to adjust, I want to make two things. One, I want to pull the collar down to adjust it more, but I also like to twist the collar when I'm adjusting to make a more comfortable grip for my fingers. So I want to create, when I twist, I want to create this gap behind the collar so my fingers can grab it easier, and I make a much more comfortable grip to choke. If he is straight, sometimes, especially when the collar is hard, it's gonna be harder to make a grip. So I twist to make a more comfortable grips for my fingers here, okay? So I still have the seat belt, I'm tight here. I grab as high as I can. I start to slowly climb, but it's not tight enough. Pedro is doing the best he can to defend. I'm doing the best I can to go as high as possible. When I cannot go higher enough, I'm gonna start using the other hand. I'm gonna pull the collar down and twist it to make a better grip, okay? When I get a good grip here now, I have only two things stopping me, my bottom leg and my elbow. My elbow is on the ground, it's hard for me to finish the choke. And if my bottom leg also cannot go up, it's gonna be hard for me to finish the choke here. So first I'm gonna do some leg work to free my bottom leg. So the leg that was stepping on the hook, I'm gonna go inside and pull Pedro all the way as much as I can to the other side just to give some space for my foot to go under his hip, okay? I'm not gonna be able to escape my leg, but it's gonna escape just under him. Now the hook that was pulling him to the side is gonna hook the leg that's blocking me. And I'm gonna use this hook to kick him over my leg and make sure my leg is free now, easy to stand up, okay? When I start to stand up now, I want to change my elbow, my triceps to my forearm. One common mistake here is I try to stand up, stretch my body, and give the chance for Pedro to go on my elbow and escape his head, okay? Go back there. So I try to disconnect my shoulder from his head as little as possible. I try to stay close to him. What I will do is change my tricep to my forearm. I'm gonna just slide my elbow a little bit back, okay? I don't stretch my arm to stand up. I just pull the elbow a little bit back and put my forearm on the ground. I'm gonna start pushing myself, the same drill we did in the warm-up. I push myself up, bring the leg. Now before I sit back to choke, I'm gonna grab his leg to avoid him rolling, okay? I'm gonna sit back to make it more efficient to change. I'm gonna slide my foot to the other side so I can sit to his hip. And it's gonna be very easy to pass my leg over. One more